Hello friends, welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So I have been in the kitchen for hours cooking down and caramelizing onions, lots and lots of onions. I am making maple onion jam, which is a wonderful condiment, you could say. Now, putting this on top of burgers as a topping is like way up there on my list. But one of the things that I really love doing, I don't do it very often, but man, it is so good, is layering this inside a grilled cheese sandwich. You got that melty cheese, the caramelized mapley onion flavor. It is so good, especially on some homemade bread that gets that nice crunch on the outside. So I have my caramelized onions here, as you can see, and I don't know if the color shows up real well on camera, but these are a beautiful caramel color. I started with 16 cups of diced onions, and then I added in 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter. And I just cooked all of these down, stirring every couple of minutes for about 4 hours, y'all. It took a long time. But I will say about 2/3 of the way through that, I remembered, you know, there's a trick for doing this in a slow cooker. Hands off, and it just goes all day. But that's all right. I'll just remember that for next time. So we've got the caramelized onions in here, and now I'm going to add in the rest of my ingredients. The original recipe, which I have on my website, calls for a 1/2 cup of brown sugar and then 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. But I'm going to completely omit the brown sugar this time around, and I'm just going to use a 1/2 cup of maple syrup, real organic maple syrup. And I'm just going to omit the extra 2 tablespoons. Now, actually, I need to back up. The original recipe that I'm making right here was only for 8 cups of onions. I doubled the recipe because this is a small batch canning kind of recipe. It does not make a whole lot. So I doubled it, and so instead of a 1/2 cup of maple syrup, I would need a cup of maple syrup to substitute for the brown sugar. But honestly, that seems like a lot of sweetness, and so I'm just going to make this 2/3 of a cup instead of a full cup. I'll mix all of these ingredients together, give it a little bit of a taste, and if I think it needs to be a little bit sweeter, I'll go ahead and add the remaining 1/3 of a cup. Next, I'm going to need 2/3 of a cup of apple cider vinegar. This is what makes this and the balsamic vinegar that I'm going to use. This is what makes the onions nice and acidic so that they're safe to can. Because onions by themselves would not be safe like this in a hot water bath canner. Or steam canner, which is what I'm using. And then 2/3 of a cup of balsamic vinegar. Okay. In with that. Next, we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of salt. And we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And this is optional. You don't have to put cinnamon in here, but it is amazing. You will love this. So now, after I've been cooking down the onions for hours, I'm going to bring all of this up to a boil, reduce it down to a simmer, and I'm just going to continue to cook this until it is nice and thickened into a jam-like consistency. And then once it's reached that stage, we will jar this up and can it. Hey friends, so the past couple of years you may have noticed that just about every time you see me canning something, I'm using Superb canning lids. I discovered these a couple of years ago and I immediately fell in love with them. They are my favorite canning lids. They are super durable. They feel more substantial than any other canning lid I've ever used. When they pop into place and you hear that wonderful tink sound, it's more significant. It's louder than any other canning lid. And same thing when you open it, it's a nice loud pop, so you know you had a great seal. And these are basically the only lids I have bought ever since I started using them. As a matter of fact, for my March Canning Madness giveaways that I've been doing every year, these are the lids that I give away. I give away several boxes of these, and they were not sponsored, they were not donated, I bought them with my own money. I love these lids. And not only are they great quality, but they are American owned and they're American made. You're not going to see an American flag saying American owned, and then you look closer at the box and see it was actually made in China. American owned, American made, great quality. They are BPA free, designed to not buckle when you are pressure canning like some cheap lids do. And the family who designed these and makes these here in America, their mission is to be the very, very best at what they do. And they are continually seeking ways to make these great lids even better. So if you would like to get some Superb canning lids, you can click the link in my video description down below and you can get 20% off your purchase using my discount code Cornbread20. Alright y'all, so the jars are over here in my steam canner heating up, and my onion jam, maple onion jam, is nice and thick. If you can see that there, let's bring in a little bit. You see that, how nice and thick that is. Now we are going to get ready to start jarring this up. So I'm going to grab all of my canning supplies. I've already got my jars, like I said, over here heating up in my steam canner. And I've got the water heating up for my lids. We've got Bean requesting to say hello to everyone. Say hi. Hi. So, I'll get everything set up here and we'll get to canning. Alrighty, everything is set up here. We've got our hot jars. Pull out a hot jar, and we're going to ladle in the maple onion jam. And we're going to go to 1/4 of an inch of headspace, which of course is the space from the top of the food to the top of the jar. And pull out the next jar and get it ready. I filled that one a little too much, so let me spoon some of that out real quick. going to take my little wand here. We're going to get the air bubbles out. Make sure it's good and packed in there. Wipe the rim with a damp cloth dipped in white vinegar. Make sure it's nice and clean. All right, then hot lid. And a ring. And into the canner. Alright y'all, the canner is loaded. I've got all of my maple onion jam jarred up. We've got 1/4 inch of headspace for all of the jars, air bubbles removed. We've got all of the jars wiped down with a damp rag dipped in white vinegar to clean it all up. Brand new clean lids and rings are on. And so now I'm going to start heating up, well, fully heat up my canner. I've already had it warmed because of the jars and everything. So we're going to warm this up, get it going, and bring this up to temperature. With the steam canner, with this steam canner, there's a gauge in the handle that lets you know when it's up to the full boiling point and full temperature. And that's when you set your timer. If you've got a hot water bath canner, of course you've got to bring it up to a full rolling boil. And that's when you start your timer. And the processing time for these is 10 minutes. So I'm going to bring this up, let it get in the zone, and then I'll set my timer. Alright y'all, so the timer just went off for the processing for my maple onion jam jars. And when it comes to a steam canner, and this is something that I think I've touched on before, but I just want to reiterate, the processing time is exactly the same when it comes to the steam canner like this or the hot water bath canner, both for high acid foods. But when your timer goes off with the hot water bath canner, you take off the lid and you let the jar sit for about 5 minutes, and then you take them out and you let them cool. With the steam canner, the timer goes off, you turn off the stove, you leave the lid on for 5 minutes, then you take it off and you take out the jars. Because with a steam canner, you've only got about 2 quarts of water, and so when you take that lid off, it's going to start cooling down very rapidly, and you don't want your jars to cool down too quickly. So hot water bath canner, go ahead and take the lid off, let it rest 5 minutes. Steam canner, leave the lid on for 5 minutes, then take it off and cool your jars. It's been cooling for 5 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and carefully remove the lid, tilting it away from me so I don't have steam come up in my face. There we go. Set that right there. I'm just going to pull out the jars and I'm going to put them over here on my cooling mat that one of my sweet subscribers made for me. My maple onion jam jars will sit here overnight. Tomorrow I'll remove the rings, test the seals, wash the jars, and if for some reason there's any jar that did not seal, which almost never happens, then I would take that one jar and stick it in my fridge to use it right away. But after the jars are washed and dried, I'll label them and stick them in the pantry. This recipe is on my website, and again, like I mentioned earlier, this was actually a double recipe. So I would go ahead and double it at a minimum if you're going to make this, because you will go through this pretty quickly. It is delicious. That is it, y'all. I will close out this video with what you see me doing tomorrow with the wrapping up and finishing up of everything. So thanks for spending some time with me here again in the Homestead Kitchen. My name is Constance from Cosmopolitan Cornbread. God bless, and I'll talk to y'all next time.